Today we're finally getting a chance to drive a 2022 Hyundai Elantra N on track. We're at M1 Concours here in Pontiac, Michigan. They've been gracious enough to let us out in this today. We have a lightly modified Hyundai Elantra N. This belongs to Patrick's brother, Will, of the Patty Boy YouTube channel. We featured a few of their cars on the channel before, and Patrick's gonna be riding shotgun with us today. So modifications, we have 18x9 WedsSport TC105X wheels, wrapped in 245 40 R18 Falken Azenis RT660 tires. We have a lower engine mount to reduce wheel hop and a couple polyurethane inserts. We also have an intake, stock brake pads, stock suspension, stock exhaust. We do have a tune on this Elantra N. This is currently on the 300 wheel horsepower tune, feels really healthy, adds quite a bit of power to everything, and seems to stay pretty cool and pretty consistent on track. Let's hop in, we'll go over some of our settings and talk with Patrick about what this is like. All right, so how's it going, man?
Pretty good.
Good to see you. You guys have been having some fun in this Elantra N this year. You've been doing some time attack events, track days, a little bit of daily driving, 6,000 hard miles.
Yeah, yep. We have not been nice to this car,
yeah,
that's for sure.
So settings, everything's in Sport Plus except for steering, which is in normal, and stability control, traction control, everything's full off. So let's test out those engine mounts, see if there's any wheel hop. Oh my gosh, that's so much better. We had a manual Elantra N a few weeks ago to test on street, and the wheel hop was so bad the engine was hitting the firewall.
Oh my god.
It was like an explosion happening in the front end. It was pretty bad, and whatever you guys have done with the engine mounts here fixes a lot of that issue.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely helped the overall feel of like the shifter and connected.
We're also running a little over 2 degrees of negative camber, which helps a lot with turn-in and rotation, as you guys can see. Tires are still a little bit cold, so we'll get some heat in them, do a few laps out here. The RT660s are a little bit numb in terms of steering feel, but you just trust them. You know exactly how much they're going to give. This chassis is so tight that you have a pretty good idea of what everything's doing. So what have you guys done with this so far? Your brother's already done a couple time attacks, right?
Yeah, so mainly we've been doing a lot of track days, but we've also been getting into time attack competitions. This car placed first in one of them, and I forget the other one. It's a really, honestly, a very competitive car in its class, so it's pretty impressive all around, absolutely.
That's awesome, and it's just lightly modified.
Yeah. I
mean, this is kind of all you can do for that class, right? What class is it? It's an SCCA time attack, right?
T3, I believe.
Okay, cool. Front diff is magic, just pulls you out of the corner beautifully. Even with everything off, I don't think there's any, is there any brake intervention going on?
I don't think so. I think it's all in the actual diff itself.
Okay, you guys haven't been going through rear pads or anything like that?
No.
Okay, cool.
They've been pretty balanced in terms of wear from front to rear.
Good, that means there's not any wizardry going on in the background when everything's off. That means ESC off is ESC off. I know that's not quite the case with the Type R and a lot of other cars out there. At least previous gen Type R, you had to do a pedal dance to turn everything off fully. Awesome, just awesome.
Even in stock form too, like we did a video on it, like can you truly, like 1 mile after break-in, can you do a full track day and have a really solid car? And you can. It has the same rotation in stock form as it does now.
Sure, yeah. I always kind of thought, oh, maybe the Elantra N won't be as playful as the Veloster was, for example, because it's a longer wheelbase, it's a bigger car. Oh my gosh, this is every bit as playful, if not more fun to drive, because it's more planted and more predictable. Hyundai really kind of did all the right things with this Elantra N. From cooling to suspension setup and chassis stiffening, this is a really, really well-developed car.
So, you know, overall it's been like pretty reliable. One issue we've been having on track, and keep in mind this is a tuned car, so it's obviously running a lot of boost, but the intercooler piping will sometimes blow off.
Okay.
And one issue that this car had was there's kind of a rubber mount that holds the pipe on, and that got kind of torn up. So we then replaced it and kind of braced it more. We're working with 6 Element Engineering to hopefully kind of work on a solution for that. But just throwing that out there, that is one thing that we found.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in your video on the time attack. But easy fix.
Easy fix.
You know, you just gotta.
Other than that, dude, we've been ripping this thing for 6,000 miles with barely any issues.
That's amazing. That's awesome. It is so much fun to drive and so dialed in. Feels really healthy on this 300 horsepower tune. And it's amazing how that negative front camber really kind of makes this more neutral on turn-in. Pretty much no understeer on this. Just let off and that rear just slides around. It's almost like it's got a big rear bar on it. That's awesome. I mean, this is just one of the best front-wheel drive chassis I've driven on track. It's so easy. You can place it exactly where you want it to be. Rotates amazingly well. You can kind of change the character of it mid-corner by lifting off the throttle. Turn in is sharp. And the diff just puts the power down beautifully. I mean, put it down before the apex. It's amazing. It's kind of foolproof.
Yeah, it honestly does do a lot of the thinking for you. The front diff is just so smart in this car.
I know I have everything off. Yeah.
Just floor it out of the corner and it just does the thinking.
Wow. Yeah, this is better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it should be, right? You throw a few modifications at something like this and it should improve it. Yeah. Not always the case, but this is really, really good. And I mean, Will knows how to set up a car too, so.
Yeah.
What's the story on the tune?
Yeah, so 6 Element Engineering is a company that we do some work with. And honestly, so they're kind of the biggest tuner for this platform. And they've recently launched their tunes and they've taken off. They're blowing up as a company, and for good reason. Their tuning package is really pretty solid. And they also do a lot of hardware options as well, which we have basically like their full catalog on this car.
Cool, that's awesome. Yeah, this is a pretty, I would say it's probably more conservative tune right here with the 300 wheel horsepower.
Yep.
But it feels just perfect. It's chilly out today. It's good boost weather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, it's 300 wheel horsepower from a stock car. We have the intake that helps out a little bit, but realistically, you get 300 wheel out of a stock vehicle.
Yeah, it's not falling off. It's, what is it, 49 degrees Fahrenheit today. Back off. We're approaching 250. Cool. Well, Patrick, I'm really impressed. This is pretty sweet.
It's a good time. Honestly,
Yeah.
I cannot say enough good things about the Elantra Ns. Like, if my brother didn't have one, I'd probably buy one, honestly. But no, they're great cars. You cannot go wrong.
Yeah, I'm having trouble thinking of anything else besides like a Camaro SS1LE that would be this good for both street driving, track driving. I mean, the BRZ can kind of do it, but not really.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the cooling capacity. We've been going hard for a few laps and it's only up to 241. The BRZ would be at like 260, 270, you know?
Yeah.
Brake struggle. This is on stock pads with upgraded fluid, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And M1 is a hard track on brakes. Not a lot of cooling zones.
Yeah, it's definitely, man, Hyundai just nailed it with this car, honestly. The Veloster Ns, I haven't driven a Veloster N, but I've heard that just the way that this chassis feels is just a little bit more connected, and it's a bit like a more stable chassis.
They dialed it in.
Yeah.
And it rotates. It kind of does it all. It's the perfect blend of seriousness, fun, performance, entertainment. Still a little bit of a hoon with the pops and crackles and liftoff oversteer, but
oh yeah,
it's just so good. Man, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. And people have been running this powertrain for quite a while with the Veloster N too, and I haven't really heard of too many problems.
Yeah.
Even the 8-speed wet clutch DCT is really good. This manual is fun though. Did you guys do anything with the shifter, or is this stock?
The shifter, I think he upgraded the bushings, and I think the fluid as well.
Okay, shifter feels a little bit tighter. This feels really nice actually, because I've never been the hugest fan of the manual transmission in these end cars, and this feels just a little bit notchier, a little bit more precise.
Yeah.
A little bit more weight between throws. Cool. Guys, we'll put all the modifications in the description, and we'll show you a few more laps here on track, but yeah, really, really high marks for the Elantra N on track. This is amazing. Go follow Patrick's channel. You can see some of their endeavors. Two brothers, Patrick and Will, on Patty Boy on YouTube. So I'll put a link to that in the top comment. Thanks for watching, guys.